Hello, welcome to the Paper Snob. This is Tara. Today I'm working on 30 Days of Sketches with Christy's Beautiful Live series number 16. It is day number 9 and our sketch was created by Claudia Henderson. This is an amazing sketch. I love that there are so many photos on there. I love the stripes and the little embellishment clusters. Title and journaling spots have been laid out for me. So what I'm doing today is I'm going to be using Art Options Spice by 49 Market. I also have 2 sheets of 49 Market's Nature Study ledger paper. Because I'm doing a 2-page layout, I wanted to make sure that I had 2 background papers that were the same, and I don't really have 2 backgrounds for the Spice collection. So I'm going to be bringing in some of the colors from the Art Options Spice collection, but I'm also going to be using these for my background. I have rub-ons and laser die cuts and ephemera and just all of the things here to play with. So I'm going to pause, we're going to get started, and I'll be right back. So I normally don't show you this part of my process. What I'm doing is I'm sorting these photos. I've got my background spread out. I have the sketch in front of me so that I can look at it, and I'm going to sit here and I'm going to trim down a couple of the photos, and I'm going to eliminate 1 or 2 of the photos as well. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be figuring out placement. And this is important because I have more photos than the original sketch, and I also have smaller photos, different shaped photos, and so I'm just going to be trying to make this work. And some of the things that I am trimming off these photos, I am setting aside because I haven't done all of the layouts. What I've done for 2016, I took a ton of photos of this memory-filled day with my husband, who was supervising the kids and their pumpkin carving. He was really not willing to let the 2 younger ones cut the top off, so he did that, and you can see that up there in the top. And I've already done the layout for Courtney, which is our older daughter, but all this rambling to say is some of these little pieces that I've cut off the photo I will be saving because I can use them on Seth's layout. I haven't done his yet. I've done Courtney's, and now this one has been completed, I have done Emily's. And so I'm just kind of playing with photo placement, to be honest. And I'm trying to keep in mind of the stripes that are on the outer edges on both sides of the layout in the sketch, because I'm going to do something with those here in a minute. But I'm just kind of playing around where these photos are going to end up here on this layout. So here's what I'm going to be doing for the stripes. I have these gorgeous rub-ons from 49 Market. It goes with the Spice collection. And I know I'm kind of off camera a little bit. I'm just going to cut out one side, and I'm going to cut them kind of in half. And I'm going to use those in place of the stripes on my layout. And the rest of them that I did not use, I'm going to remember to put back in the package because I recently tried to play with a set of rub-ons. They are not 49 Market, they were another company, but I left it out on my desk and it dried up and it just barely went onto paper when I finally got around to using it. So I'm making sure when I play with rub-ons that I remember to put them back in their plastic packaging so that it keeps them fresh. So this part takes quite a while. I'm using a bone folder from Close to My Heart. I've had this for eons. I'm sure there are other companies that makes them, but I didn't have one when I ordered it. So anyway, my hand starts hurting. I will be honest, my hands really start hurting. You'll see me switch back and forth quite a few times because of that. I am left-handed and I'm much more comfortable using it with my left hand. But when my hand started hurting, I would have to give my left hand a little bit of a break and switch to the right hand side. I thought that this made a great replacement for the stripes. There aren't as many stripes or as many rub-on splotches as there are stripes in the sketch, but I think that's okay. I do love that I used up this element for the layout, and I'm able to get all of the photos on here. That makes me happy as well. When you take as many photos as I do for family events like this, it's nice to have a layout with a sketch that allows you to get as many on there as possible. I think I've mentioned in a previous video, I once took an Allison Davis class where we were doing, I don't remember which class it was, but one of the Christmas layouts that I did for that class, I got 28 photos on that layout, and I was so stinking tickled about doing that. Now I'm retrimming some of the photos a little bit because I don't want to cover up my little stripes. I want to make sure that they are well visible, or I can't even talk, that they are visible on my layout. So I think this is the way page 1 is going to go. Now I'm going to do a similar thing with page 2. It's the other half of them. And I'm just going to go ahead and use my bone folder to get them on here. I also want to mention that these 49 Market rub-ons go on like butter. Now, I already said that it's hurting my hand. That has nothing to do with the rub-ons and more with the fact that I might be getting old. Anyway, but they go on super easy. I have not had rub-ons go on this easily since making Memories rub-ons or the old basic gray rub-ons. Most of the other rub-on companies that I have used have been a pain in the neck. These have never been hard to use. And what's funny is I avoided purchasing 49 Market rub-ons because of prior experiences with rub-ons from other companies. And I'm glad that I took the chance at one point and bought some because they're absolutely amazing. Okay, what you're seeing here is where I have pulled apart the ephemera pack that I pulled out to use and kind of sorted it so that I would know where everything was. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm taking this piece of pattern paper. Again, I am really having a hard time cutting into this paper. I adore this collection, and I only bought one pack, so what's there is what I have. And so what I'm doing is I cut the paper in half, and then I'm going to cut both pieces, both halves, into 6x8. So it just means I cut off 4 inches, and I'm going to put the scraps in with the rest of the collection. That is something I do with a collection until I am out of full sheets of paper, and then I will sort it into my actual scraps. Fun story, I don't have very many scraps anymore. I had threatened to throw them away during our move at the end of May and into June. And one of my friends begged me to not do that, pretty please. And I sent them home with her when she came to visit. And so I have very few scraps right now because I gave them away. Anyway, so I'm just scuffing up all of the little tickety things. I don't know what else to call them, tickety things. And I'm going to be putting those kind of tone on tone in between the actual rub-ons. And so I have 3 for this side, and I have a couple more for the other side. I will have to use an actual ticket at the top of the left-hand side because I don't have this color. I must have used it on the one layout that I've done with this collection so far. And so I use a ticket in its place, and that works out really well because it allows for the title to kind of shine just a little bit. So here's the ticket that I'm going to be using. Now some of this stuff I had already scuffed up the edges and then didn't use it in my previous layout. So you're going to see me scuff up some more things. I am scuffing up these pumpkin edges. Do love these pumpkins, and this is such a beautiful collection. So I'm gonna just do a little bit of scuffing. It just gives a little texture, a little depth. You're not gonna see it real well until the close-ups at the end of the video, but I'm gonna be layering the set of pumpkins with the floral piece goes down first, and then I'm going to take the big one that I had already scuffed up and I'm going to lay it on top. I'm not using any foam adhesive there. Now this tiny one will end up with some foam adhesive behind it. And so I've got that. Now I have all of these other layering pieces. They're in the ephemera packet, and that's the only thing I know to call them is layering pieces. I was hoping to use some of these for actual mats, but I decided that I didn't need to mat all of the photos. I just layer some bits and pieces behind some of them. And the reasoning for doing that is because I didn't want to cover up that beautiful pattern paper that I just laid down on the background. I didn't want to cover it up completely. So as it is, I still cover up quite a bit, but you get the general idea. And so these here, some of these larger ones, I'm going to cut in half eventually to use. But now I'm going to go ahead and get my photos back down just to see if they will go where I intended them to go. I'm going to have to tuck that one underneath the pumpkins, which is okay. I thought it was funny to take pictures of what the kids kept saying, "It's pumpkin guts, Mom, it's pumpkin guts, Mom." And here I'm going to cut this larger pieces in half, whereas I'm just eyeballing it. I don't know if they're actually in half or not, but I'm just eyeballing it and just kind of giving myself more pieces to layer with. So I'm going to tuck a pink one behind this bottom right photo, and then I tuck something else under it eventually. But I'm just kind of trying to make decisions here. I get some more of these tickets. I'm going to scuff up the edges of those and tuck. And ultimately what you're seeing me do here is I'm just playing with the product, kind of trying to make decisions where things go. I didn't come in with much more of a plan than those rub-ons, and everything else I am doing, I am flying by the seat of my pants. So, and here's where I said, since I'm not going to mat all of these photos, let's scuff them all up. And so I think I scuff all of the ones for the left-hand page on camera. I do not do so for the ones on the right-hand side, but they do get scuffed up because, of course, if you're going to do it on one page, you kind of need to do it on the other. I mean, I guess if you're going to have a scrapbooking page rule, that should be it, right? I don't know. Anyway, that was my philosophy. If I did it on the left page, I really need to do it on the right page for it to make sense. So I also have bits and pieces tucked at the top for a title. I know that I want to do some layering behind that title, but I don't know how much layering is going to get done, just simply because I haven't, like I said, I am literally flying by the seat of my pants. I have made no decisions at all, just that I wanted to use this collection. I wanted to use the rub-ons in place of the stripes, and that's just going to have to be how it is. So I tuck a purple one behind this photo. I don't think I tuck anything else behind the other two photos. I decided that they were too close to the stripes and I didn't want it to get super busy. I just wanted a little bit of layering. And, in this instance, I don't know that you would really need journaling for this story. You can kind of see what's going on in my photos, but I do use some journaling, and it ends up at the very bottom of the right-hand page on some of those labels that you can see over there. And like I said, I had sorted out this ephemera pack. I pulled out anything that I knew I would not use, but left everything on around the layout of things that I thought I might use. And oh, nope, I lied. It looks like I am going to stick a ticket up on the top of that top left photo. So, and I'm kind of doing a little bit of gluing as I go so that things don't shift too much. Next, I'm going to go ahead and try to build my title. I know that I want to put this frame behind the beginning of the title, but I also want to get some leafy bits in there and maybe even a flower behind it as well. And that right there makes me pretty happy. So that side is pretty much done. It's done the way that I think it's going to work. Now I'm going to start working on the other page. I've got to cut down my 6x12 paper to 6x8. Again, I am keeping the scraps, and I was making sure that I left some pumpkins in one of the scraps because I thought I might fussy cut those for another layout at another time, and so I wanted to have part of them. I'm scuffing up the edges. I did not scuff up the edge that is going to be in the center of the 2-page layout. It just doesn't need to be scuffed up, and I just didn't do it. But I did scuff up the other 3 edges as I was working. So now I'm going to kind of move these other things around so I can get my 6x8 paper down. I'm trying to make sure I don't lose anything that I know I want to use. And of course, I want to make sure that they are even in the center, the 2 pieces of pattern paper. And I'm making sure that I have them set to where I can make it even as well. Now on my viewfinder, that hot pink viewfinder, I am going to scuff up the outer edge, not the inner edge. And then I'm going to cut it in half, and I'll put the half that I don't use away. At first, I lay both halves on either side of the 6x8 paper, the top and the bottom. But then I quickly realized that was silly because it would get covered up on the bottom half because I have all those photos that I still need to put down on that bottom. So here I go with the scuffing with the Tim Holtz Distress tool. I need to get the one I bought from Some Assemblage Required in a more handy location. I think that it would be easier to use on my hands than the smaller one. Sometimes the smaller one can be really hard to hold. And I didn't measure the circle when I cut, I just cut. And I'm going to tuck there. And like I said, initially I tuck down at the bottom as well. And that would look really great if I was putting photos down the middle of that pattern paper. But since I am putting photos down where the viewfinder half is going to go, I'm going to take it off because it's just not going to work. So I thought I might put the little ticket thingies on this side, and I decided not to do that. I have some tags in those colors, and you know, they're really too long. So this is what I'm doing is I'm kind of sorting through. I could cut them in half and use them, but then I remembered I had all of those hearts, and there were enough hearts that I had a heart for every color, and I thought, you know, this is a great place to use these as well. So those hearts are going to end up there. Now I'm going to pull out my photos and get those kind of put on here to make sure I know where things are going to end up going. And that's where my photos are going to end up. Again, I don't believe I scuff up any edges for this side on camera. I am going to trim down this one just a tad. I like my photos to all be uniform in size, but on this layout it doesn't happen because I'm trying to eliminate as much space as I can without cutting out anything important. And so I just kind of trimmed down this one a little bit, and those 3 on the bottom are absolutely not the same size. For me, that is okay. Again, I'm just kind of trying to make sure that I don't cut out anything important of the story, but also making sure that I leave enough room for my design. I am going to double matte this photo with her holding her pumpkin. because she just was so happy with how it came out. And so I thought it was great to go ahead and I took a photo of every kid with their finished pumpkin in the daylight. And then the layout that I did for yesterday shows the photos of the pumpkins all lit up at night. And like I said, I think this might have been the last year that we carved pumpkins. These silly kids thought they got too big to do stuff like this. And so anyway, I have the journaling labels laid out. I've got that little circle that says this photo. I've got some phrases that I still want to decide if I'm going to use those anywhere, and that's what I'm going to dig through now. I know that there's a couple that I want to use. I think I put 2 on what I'm going to consider my focal photo in the end, and then I think 1 ends up on the left page. I think I've already laid it down there at the bottom, and that one I think says making memories together or something like that. So I kind of wished that I could have had an orange phrase to go there, because I put an orange heart on top of the orange rub on. And anyway, it didn't work out that way. And I think I end up moving those lower anyway. I added some flowers to the viewfinder and a little leafy bit to my focal photo. All right, I got my layout completely done. I've got the journaling on there and all of the embellishments glued down. I added foam adhesive where I needed it in various places. Things are still drying. I like the idea of using the rub-ons for the stripes along the side. Help me use up some great rub-ons as well as some wonderful pieces from this collection. Looks like I still need to glue down those 2 a little bit better, but I am quite happy with the way that this turned out. I used so many embellishments from the ephemera bits, and I still have a ton left, so I'll have plenty for the next layout, right? So I want to thank you for coming to my channel today. I really appreciate those of you who take the time to like, comment, and or subscribe. You guys are helping me to grow this channel, and without your help I can't do it, and I am so thankful that you guys helped me get to 1,000. So here's to the next 1,000. It took me 2 years to get to 1,000 subscribers, so maybe it won't take as long the next time. We'll see. But make sure that you check that playlist out below. Everybody is adding to that playlist. You've got some amazing creators as always participating in 30 Days of Sketches. There are Instagram participants as well, so if you search the hashtag that I'll have in my description box on Instagram, you should pull up a bunch more great layouts to look at as well. I hope that you guys have a great rest of your day. Bye.